Why is Blackrock getting into the crypto game? Why is Citadel getting into the crypto game? Why is traditional finance in general now suddenly jumping on? Where does this sudden change of heart come from? And why is everybody following so quickly once a single large player starts this? Bitcoin's performance year to date is 80%. It has been the best performing asset among all the larger asset classes. It has done better than stocks, better than property, better than precious metals, and it is one of the preferred investment classes of the younger generation. And over time, the younger generation earns more, it's also going to inherit money, and it might not necessarily want that house or that boring Johnson & Johnson stock. With each subsequent generation, risk tolerance tends to rise. 60 years ago, you bought your house maybe directly in cash. Then maybe you had some bonds and some property. Then you started to overweigh stocks over bonds. So you had a 60-40 split. Then you had a preference for tech stocks over the rest of the stock market. Now you're seeing the crypto market taking away market share from the stock market. And the big players want to be part of this. They simply had been reluctant because of the regulatory framework, and maybe, just maybe, there had been some talks behind closed doors with some of those larger players and the SEC. And Blackrock has a very high approval rate for its ETF applications. Only 1 out of 500 applications got rejected. It's very likely that this spot ETF will become a real thing. And so everybody has to now follow. It's simply a thing of game theory. You don't want just one player to monopolize the market. You want to get a share of the pie as well. And if you've got a role model of something that's likely going to get approved, then the chances of your smaller application as a smaller asset manager are also rising to get approved. It's basically opening up the floodgates. Bitcoin is very likely going to become a part of the younger generation's retirement accounts even. Now in the end conclusion, where could this bring us? If Bitcoin is really seen as the hardest of the monies, if it's being seen as harder than gold, for example, which by the way, in simple inflation terms, it already is, right? It gets printed less, or it gets mined less than gold, then why would it be too far stretched out to imagine that a central bank could be holding Bitcoin next to gold? Maybe holding the inflationary US dollar isn't that great of an idea after all. The US dollar can get weaponized during times of stress. Gold is expensive to store. Gold doesn't have to necessarily keep up with inflation, but Bitcoin likely will. And on top of that lower inflation, we do have the ever increasing adoption. The number of Bitcoin wallets that hold at least one Bitcoin is steadily increasing. So the whole thing is a long-term game. You can ride the waves if you do enough analysis, but you don't have to ride the waves. If you diversify enough across different asset classes and you're okay with one fraction of your portfolio, which is Bitcoin, to temporarily go down by 70%, which by the way can also happen with property, right? When you lever up property and you only pay down 20%, then that down payment might also go even in the negatives, right? The property price might go down by 20%. Your down payment is pretty much completely gone. But you're okay with that because over the long term, property tends to appreciate versus fiat, and you've got long enough of a time horizon. You can apply the exact same thinking for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is here to stay. Not every cryptocurrency will survive, but if you've got long enough of a time horizon, it should be not even more risky to bet even a larger portion of the portfolio on the largest of the cryptocurrencies. You simply just have to manage your risk across asset classes. And you don't need to look at the price every day. Just allocate, wait, and see. If you've got Telegram, feel free to join us. Either click the link below or search for Bitcoin Strategy channel within the Telegram app. Looking forward to chat with you. Bye bye.